Dr. Chad Luxemburt. I'm an eye physician and surgeon. I've been in the company for 2 years, and I'm proud to be in LifeVantage. This is world-shattering information. It's unbelievable. I couldn't possibly communicate to you how important the whole thing is, but I'll tell you a little stuff. In 1928, a researcher in Scotland named Fleming was in his laboratory, and he looked down, and someone had left a sandwich next to a petri dish that had a bacterial culture in it. And he looked down and he saw that the bacteria was dead where the sandwich was touching the dish. Now, most people would have picked both of the things up, thrown them in the garbage, and yelled at whoever left their sandwich there. But he was really smart, and he said, why is this bread mold on my bread, my sandwich, killing the bacteria on this dish? And you know what he found? He found out that bread mold makes something that turned into penicillin. So in 1928, penicillin is discovered. You think that changed the world, having antibiotics? You think that was earth-shattering? That was very, very earth-shattering. And then it took till 1943 to have penicillin commercially available. So penicillin took a while to develop from that time when he saw the bread mold and the experiment in his lab. In 1999, the NRF2 pathway was discovered. Okay, we discovered a pathway. We knew for a while before that that there was something called SOD that was very important in fighting free radicals in the cells, but we had no way of giving people SOD because it wasn't a molecule that would be able to be given in food or in a pill form or whatever. So really, knowing about SOD didn't really help. But now we have the NRF2 pathway, and we find out that this pathway raises SOD in the body, but we didn't know how to activate the pathway. But in 2003, some really, really smart people put 5 herbs together that were known to help people's health in Oriental medicine for thousands of years. Why did they pick those 5 together? I really don't know. I would love to find that out. How'd they know that those 5 things and in the percentages they put together would have such an effect? But Protandim is put together, invented 2003. The really interesting thing is that in 2003, when they did the Protandim, they didn't know it worked by activating NRF2. Later on, they found out. They knew it worked, and that was really enough. But then they found out it worked by rejuvenating NRF2, because NRF2 is a pathway in the cell that was very well shown to you. I call it a thermostat for your waste treatment facility. When you have energy and products and you have waste, you have a factory. The cell is a factory. So if the cell is a factory and the waste treatment plant isn't working, you get pollution. And when you're young, your waste treatment plant works great. But as you get older, it kind of rusts and doesn't work as well. But if you can take something, and you can, called Protandim, and it rejuvenates the system to get the waste treatment going. In other words, there's a thermostat. You get free radicals are up because you have a lot of metabolism. The NRF2 says to the nucleus, we need more antioxidants. Everything is fine. If the NRF2 pathway doesn't work, you lead to all kinds of problems and diseases. So this is what you need to know about Protandim, NRF2, and all our products activate NRF2. Protandim is in the True Science Skin regimen. Protandim is in the Canine Health. And the Axio doesn't have Protandim, but it is an NRF2 activator because our incredible Chief Science Officer, Sean Talbot, put it together with his knowledge of how to activate NRF2. And the NRF2 science is the absolute forefront of medical experiments and technology. All the pharmaceutical companies are looking for NRF2 activators. We have like the best one, the cheapest and the safest, and it's incredible. Now, as an ophthalmologist, I recommend the Protandim for various things for my patients. But in reality, lately I've been saying that cellular stress leads to damage to cells, which leads to damage to organs, which leads to damage to systems, which leads to diseases. and really everybody needs it. I don't have to just tell people they need it for their eyes. Sure, you need it for your eyes, but you need it for the blood vessels in throughout your body. That's what we just heard about, the endothelial cells. There are blood vessels everywhere. If they're not working well, you have trouble with your kidney, you have trouble with your eyes, you have trouble with your heart, you have trouble with your muscles, you got trouble. So Protandim, necessary for all these things. Now, what have I seen in my practice? Well, we've had a couple of people with diabetes, and we recommend it strongly for diabetes because we know that it tends to lower something called hemoglobin A1C, and that is something that's crucial in the treatment of diabetes. And I had a couple of patients that we recommended it to, and within 3 months, their kidney function improved so much that they avoided dialysis. I spoke to their family doctors. They were on the verge of dialysis 3 days a week for the rest of their life. Life-changing event. And both patients, after 3 months of Protandim, had an increase in what we call creatinine clearance. That means their kidney function actually got better. Didn't stay the same, didn't get worse, it got better. Talk about the eye. Really interesting article out of a Spanish university in Madrid. NRF2 activation and oxidative stress in the aging eye. Talking about how oxidative stress, which is free radicals that are not combated properly by antioxidants, cause dry eyes, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, and macular degeneration. Well, how would you have something, wouldn't you love to have something that would help people, protect them against those things happening, or help them if they already have them? Talk about diabetic retinopathy, bleeding vessels, poor vessel formation, inflammation, scarring, destruction of the function of your eye. Because inflammation leads to scarring, leads to decreased function, just as we were already talking about the way Dr. Maniscalco said. So Protandim activates the NRF2 pathway, which gives you antioxidants and turns on genes that are anti-inflammatory, and even our patents say that our product is anti-inflammatory, and in one case lists that it lowers C-reactive protein, which is a measure of total body inflammation. So you know that's how it's working. So it's helpful for all of those things. My dad had macular degeneration. He got the wet kind, which is a leaky blood vessel, which leads to scarring and atrophy and lack of function. He needed a shot. Right after that, I joined the company, found out about Protandim. He never needed another injection. Most people need multiple injections in the eye when they get wet macular degeneration. He never had a recurrence. His vision went back from 20/80 to 20/40 and stayed that way the rest of his life for 18 months, and I believe it was the Protandim that did that. When I looked at the back of his eye, I saw less what we call drusen, or pigment accumulation from macular degeneration than before he started Protandim. And the pigment accumulation is kind of scarring and destruction of the retinal pigment epithelial layer. So if you have less drusen because you're taking Protandim, that's miraculous. As a matter of fact, all of this is miraculous. As I always say, the only thing that's more incredible than the products from LifeVantage is the business opportunity from LifeVantage. So I'd like to end it right there, and that's how I feel.